Do, 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 do.
Because I was creating a presentation.
And we are here with another episode of the Consensus Podcast, talking crypto and NFTs with my very favorite host, Lisa.
Hello.
Good morning. And how are you today, Lisa?
As you can see, I'm pretty wild, but I'm doing great.
Good.
Overall.
Fantastic. This is
How are you?
good. Just getting ready for a big birthday tomorrow, and did a little home improvements as everyone
Your
can see.
birthday?
Yeah, my birthday. I'm
Happy
turning 35.
birthday.
Yeah, getting
How old?
old.
30 what?
35. I know.
That's a nice round number.
I really like fives and zeros, as does the crypto market. If you
The
ever watch
30s are
price
great,
action.
though. I liked my 30s. I've just turned 40, so
There you
I
go.
hit a new. You hit like even on Meetup or even in dating, it's like you just hit a whole new level.
Oh
You have to
yeah.
go to the 40s group now,
Yep.
which is very weird because I don't feel that old. So I certainly know I'm not alone, but yeah, but I'm with you. I get it. Aging is kind of odd, but that's really wonderful. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
And I hope you have a great time.
Oh, I
Anything
should.
fun planned?
We're gonna go out tonight to this kind of like a treehouse forest kind of Airbnb somewhere out in the woods of
Oh,
Washington.
cool.
Yeah,
Oh,
that should be
how
super cool.
neat. Oh my God. And you know I love the woods of Washington.
Yeah, yeah,
Despite the
it's
creepy factor, it's fucking they're amazing and beautiful.
right. Well, the only
All
problem
woods have
is
creepy factor.
we're right in that weird season right now where we're either gonna get a fat snow dump or it's just gonna rain and be
Yeah.
gray. But it might try and trick you into thinking it's beautiful and sunny for about 3 hours. So
What if you get on the other side of the what are those mountains in Washington where it's like on the other
the
side of the mountains is
Cascades.
sun? Yeah, it's
We'll
sun.
we'll be in the Cascades is where we're
You'll be
at.
in the Cascades. How neat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So
Been some time since
it'll
I've
be
been up
good.
there, like I said. Yeah. Well,
So
I mean, sounds great to me. Like I love treehouse idea, and just hope you have a wonderful time.
right. So you came in hot with some good news this morning. Why don't you go ahead and start us out and pick which one you want to start with?
Oh, good news. Good news.
Yeah, I mean news on the crypto front. We can actually talk about crypto today, everyone. I mean, we don't have
Good
to.
is
Everyone can just
good.
hang out and chill, but
I don't know if there's good news there.
no, it
There's
doesn't have to be
actually
good. Big news.
oh, I thought you said good. Okay. I was like, wait, there's good news. The Ronin
No.
wallet. I definitely want to top it off with the Ronin wallet because this one
Okay.
it is now the biggest stuff to date in crypto.
Yeah.
And I have, of course, it came in what overnight. I have yet to go see how they did it, but I know there's an article, there's articles out there about how they did it. There
Mm-hmm.
was like they leached on something in the wallet, and I think they took advantage of the way that Ronan was set up, I
Mm-hmm.
believe. But anyway, yeah, I don't want to speak too much beyond that because I don't know for sure. But
Sure.
it's one of the biggest.
Pop over here real quick and take a look at that article. Where did you go? Live screen. So here's that article for everyone. I can make it a little bigger. Um, but so Ronin Validator compromised. Ronin Bridge. I actually don't know much
Mhm.
about the Ronin Bridge at all. Do you? You want to speak on that real quick if you know anything about it?
No, I don't know enough on the Runner Brush to probably speak on it confidently.
Okay, okay. So we'll just kind of go
I
into
was
this.
reading about it earlier, but I don't know if I would speak about it confidently.
Yeah. So it looks like they've got their own decks called the Katana Decks. Um, and so Ronin Bridge has been exploited for 173,600 Ethereum, which, doing a little bit of math is a lot of freaking money.
It's $625 million. Okay, so I
Oh,
understand that
and
the
25
yeah.
million in USDC also, just to put a little cherry on top.
So in USD, technically, it was 625 million. If you translate it to USD, it was
No, no,
six hundred
there
twenty-five
was an
million dollars.
additional 25 million USDC that got taken also.
Right. So it was 600 in ETH,
Oh, gotcha.
and then 25 million in USDT. So it would make it 625
There you
total.
go.
And it looks like it was Axie Infinity's Ronin network. So the bridge
Oh,
between Axie and Ronin.
okay. That
Yeah.
sucks. People were really, really big about Axie this summer, and and
Guy Mavis Ronin's network. Yeah. This is just, it's a wild sort of situation. And I guess the reason I brought it up is I'm very passionate about security in this place.
as
Like,
we were just going on about with that HTTPS issue.
oh my goodness, I mean, Pat, it's security in this place is the only way that we're actually going to get the adoption that we need.
Yeah.
And translate that into people and money and adoption. And when companies see things like this, they get really concerned. And I know that
Yeah.
there's some companies out there that are trying to help bridge the gap between businesses and their risk portfolio, right?
Right.
Their risk exposure. I know that there's businesses out there, so obviously it's creating a level of businesses that weren't there to begin with
Yeah.
before. So I think that's very neat because the market is responding to the need. Um, However, I worry when these huge stories come out like this, what it looks like to the everyday folks who still don't quite understand the true depth of what it is that we're dealing with here, and like how important it is to the future that we get this right. You
Yeah.
know, so I'd love to hear your thoughts, kind of just on the exposure alone on a company like that and their
So
ability to expose people in a manner in which they're not really aware, I guess.
yeah, well, and
Right?
unless you are actively investigating the code, and I went in and started learning how to kind of read and um, copy and reuse bits of code last week for Stargaze, and if unless you're really going in and understand what is written in those
Mm,
files
mm,
and what is actually implemented, you're not going to have any real good way to be able to say, okay, this is actually going to be a secure situation.
yeah.
The best thing from our perspective, from an investor perspective, that we can work off of is known factors and looking at who has already had issues. And to be honest, when I see these, it's normally a good sign for me. If a project hasn't had an exploit, they haven't had any issues,
Mm.
they're too young. It's too young, and there's going to be these
But
issues.
we should, like, I think at some point we have to get beyond the fact that exposing ourselves and adding that risk as a way to learn through or fail through. Because I think
Yeah,
from a security standpoint, and I mean, some degree that I've worked in some level of security, right?
sure.
Like in internet level security. And I guess to me, what I see is scary,
Oh
and I'll
yeah,
tell you why. Yeah, and I'm sure you know, but I guess I don't want to expect that these failures happen because it says to me that they're potentially not double checking their work. They're not running their contracts through any validators. They're not double checking across multiple people that the
yeah,
contract doesn't. So what that tells me, if they may be like not putting a lot of money into headcount and trying to save money and do things like that, which I've seen people do when they really, really, really need to make sure that they're getting the right people in place to ensure that the security is happen, because those people could are expensive,
yeah.
but they could also save money.
Oh
So I
yeah.
guess that's where I'm at. I didn't mean to like take it to another level. I guess
No,
I'm
no,
just
no.
concerned
Absolutely.
about any risk profile more than nominal at just as at a baseline.
Yeah. Well, and we were talking about the institutional level, and what
Mm,
risk that they had been put at, and I took a quick look over just on Axie. Looks like there is 351,000 shares of Axie. I think that's in U.S. dollar terms. Um, Looks like in 2019 was what the institutional investors, and now this is just a quick Google search. 77.63% of the total float, um, typical for companies midline insurance industry. So yeah, there's hundred thousands of dollars of institutional money in Axie. I
yes.
don't know what their actual company.
Exposure is right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure there possibly is
Same.
more. That was a 2019 survey, so I'm sure by now, especially with the huge growth of Axie over the last 6 months,
Yeah.
that number is probably more than tripled. So, eh, these companies, if they really are wanting to actually take this risk and be involved in this, there's no reason they shouldn't sit there and pay somebody for a day's worth of work to go through and audit these chains. And they're
Yes.
all up there on GitHub. You can just pop over, take a look at it, and go through the code. And hell, you could even run a test net on it yourself. I mean,
Mhm.
you pop in there and you change one line of code, and all of a sudden you're on testnet instead of mainnet, and you do whatever you
It's
want with
bug
it.
hunting though. I think
Yeah,
at the time it's the time that goes into bug hunting, and I know that there are they put out bounties for bugs and things like that, which
are they?
which
Is this company doing that?
I don't know, but that's what a lot of companies, that's what a lot of crypto companies have been doing, is
Yeah.
they've
Well, and they'll
been
they'll have the
putting out bounties,
hackathons. Um,
hackathons and bounties.
yeah.
But bounties can solve a lot of different types of things. I don't want to get into bounties today. That's we could spend a whole entire 60 minutes on
I
bounties.
mean, I got time. Uh,
I'm offended, also very um, happy about them, but also offended by them.
yeah, I
So
totally
weird.
understand.
And also, like, I do believe that it exploits people for their work. But I also think that in some way, people coming together and doing something in an intentful manner creates value in a way that can't be really measured. So it's like,
Yeah,
if
right.
you can convince enough people to do it for free, then I think nobody's harmed.
Yeah.
I
Well, and
don't know. It's
I mean,
weird.
assuming there is an actual, payout at the end for whoever does achieve the goal, I don't see an issue with that. That is
But then how
definitely,
many people are actually working on that goal? And I guess for scientific methodology, they've been probably doing that for a very long time, and even
yeah.
probably technological methodology. But like, yeah, I find the bounty programs very, very interesting,
Hmm.
and these exceptionally talented and smart people spending their times working for free. To me, it's weird,
I mean, okay, think
but
about,
maybe at the same time they're learning something.
yeah, it could
Or
be.
they're um, practicing their skills, honing their skill.
Yeah.
Talk to
Well,
me. I mean, I love being put in my place. So, I mean, feel free.
so if you take a look at the blockchain industry as a whole, um, that model is very, very widespread. Even
Hmm.
just that concept of working for free at the hopes of achieving the goal to be rewarded, that is the entire basis of blockchain and proof of work, because every single one of those miners is out there doing that work, and these people are doing, putting together all these machines to literally
And
work at the
hope,
hope that they are the
and the
one to
hope
solve
that they're
that
going to make.
block. And yet it is worth it
But
because,
there's a financial incentive there. I mean,
and most of those bounty programs theirs as well, they'll
yeah.
offer that
Well,
financial incentive
true.
in their own token, and most of the time, and this is something I'm working with designing right now, that um, those tokens
Yeah.
come from the foundation fund, the fund that was set aside for, paying for servers, paying for developers, paying for bounty programs. And so it's it's definitely something that is built into a, the cost of the token, and b,
Hmm.
running this project as a decentralized individual or a decentralized concept overall. Sorry, I'm getting a
Right.
cough. Go
How
ahead.
dare you? No, it's okay.
Ugh.
No, that's great. That's great perspective. And I love going through this because I like being wrong in some ways and like testing the limits of the knowledge that I've had so far. And then I learned something from that. Like,
Right.
I love that
Yeah.
aspect
Well,
of
and
it. But no, that's great. I appreciate the open, thought process on it.
for sure. It's much better than the stick and carrot that is used for job hunting, and we've gone over this a couple of times, especially with content creators and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And
Like, write all
um,
this
God, that is
to
that's
prove your worth.
yeah. It's like, oh, here, do this work for us. It's 8 hours worth of research, 20 minutes worth of writing, and we expect it by Monday. And I'm like, okay, then I expect to be paid on Friday.
Yeah, it's getting a little worrisome, and there's a fine line there between somebody being able to prove their value
Yeah.
and somebody giving you, like, doing free work. Like,
Yeah.
it's a
Well, and
really, really fine line.
what really drives me bonkers is I got this request from a company last week, and they basically gave me a blank piece of paper with the name of their product at the top and an assignment date, and said write a Medium article about this. And I went over and I started researching, and it took me 3 hours to figure out what the hell they were even trying to like do with this project, let alone like
Mm.
enough information to start writing an informative article that will have my name attached to it and my reputation.
Right, like,
And
yeah, no.
yeah,
I think there's got to be a better way. Like,
like at least
do
give
you
me
have
access to information. I don't
do you have a
know.
portfolio online, by the way?
That's part of the website that I've been building, is that
Okay.
putting my portfolio and my kind of presence out there. So the Time Crash branding is not just, these NFTs. It's supposed to be a platform for writers and authors in the NFT space. It's supposed to be an art platform for myself, a game, portfolio of writing and information where, you know, people can come in and they can be like, oh, you know, he wrote about this stuff like on his Medium articles. It's all linked together. Everything's going to be back and forth, so that it's building more of this community than just like a game, just
Mhm.
an art project.
Sure.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
kinda is the answer.
Yeah.
That was part of
Kind of.
building it, is putting my portfolio out there and my presence a little more visible on the internet, so that I don't have to be like,
Yeah.
"Ugh."
I ask because I'm always so curious about companies that do that, how much time they actually spend looking at the portfolio. And for me,
Yeah,
that's a lot of work that actually showcases what they're hoping to see.
right?
And because it's not specific to them, they get upset. And that's when I get worried.
Yeah,
Because I should be able to display my work in a method and manner at which you can assess how I'm doing. If they can't assess like whether or not I'm capable or not, that's concerning.
right. And
And I'm
that's
gonna
definitely something that I would like
yeah.
to kind of go into with a lot of the interviews and interviewers is, are you capable of assessing that I am a capable individual to
Capable of
fill
doing
your
the job.
role?
Yeah.
Because like,
That's so
you know,
right.
if I stepped in and I started talking to developers
Yeah,
and I don't even know the name of the, you know, language they're coding in, how am I supposed to be like, yes, you're a great developer. Please work on my project for
that's right.
somewhere around $200,000 a year?
You don't go say, "Hey, go develop this program and then come back to me and we'll see whether or not you're good enough." Like that's not how the world works. And I think the more people that push back on employers like that, the better it's going to get for everybody.
Hmm.
Um, like I maybe I'm just too blunt, but I just tell people like no.
Yeah.
I literally said to one company, if you can't like if it's hard for you to assess whether or not because they reached out to me.
Right.
Okay.
That's the best part, is when they come to you first.
Reached out to me, but you can't tell whether or not I'm capable to do the job. Like, don't BS me. Like, let's be honest here.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just fun times, on the horizon of job going.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, as far as the Ronin Wallet is concerned, I
Those-
just would love there to be development of standard business practices, and I know that's going to come. That came with the internet. You know, it's going to come here.
Oh yeah. Everything will get there eventually.
So, but I guess it's just a bummer because really a lot that's people that's multiple people, right?
Oh
That's
yeah.
and then one person just runs away with it like like
Yeah.
it like during the pandemic and the toilet paper or whatever, one person got all the toilet paper and you're like, bro, come on,
Come on.
you
He's just
know.
like got like these storage containers of freaking toilet paper, and you're like, they're just gonna make more, man.
Well, I mean, he got to get his share and run away with it, and
Yeah.
I that's
It's called war profiteering.
that's called yeah. That's called capitalism, Lisa.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh my gosh. All right. Let's move on to another story here. Bored apes are getting after it yet again with this guy who accidentally sold his Bored Ape NFT worth $391,000 for a total of $151.
I mean, less or but like
That's less than the cost of the
it's
transaction.
so bad. Like why?
That's literally less than the
It
gas
just goes to
cost.
show you, like anybody can make a mistake, but
Yeah.
at the same time, it also exposes the fact that it's actually kind of neat in a bad sort of way because I think maybe this is what you were trying to tell me earlier is there is innovation here
Mm-hmm.
regardless. Maybe that's what you were trying to say is there's
Oh.
innovation here that needs to meet the needs of the business so that people feel more safe and secure, and
Yeah.
that's I don't know,
So
you know what I mean.
let's pop over there real quick and take a look at why this happened. Um, so there's is this the actual Bored Ape that they've got featured here on the page?
That I don't know if it's that I would assume potentially because I would be I don't know, it'd be weird to just share anybody's board ape in the article, but
Mm-hmm.
who
Yeah.
knows.
So, oh gosh, who was it the other day? Somebody had, one of the people who had bought a Bored Ape had gone through and photoshopped out the cigarette in the ape's mouth because she didn't like it. Was it Gwyneth Paltrow?
She didn't like the cigarette.
Yeah, it's like you changed the art, so now it's no longer the highly valuable piece of art that you paid ridiculous sums of money for.
Technically, they in that contractual, apparently I have to go look through it all, but they have rights to the image, so they can change it.
I mean, yeah, it's their thing. They're absolutely fucking
But
welcome
I
to
see
do
what
as they
you're
please with
saying
it.
from an art perspective, but I don't know. It's it's twofold, because they do get a right to do whatever they want with it when they've got,
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. Removal. I mean, I'm making a quick Google here. Apparently changed Twitter profile picture to illustration. Okay, well, we'll come back to that later. Let's talk about why he lost this NFT for
yeah, let's do that.
that very low amount of money, which was apparently 99.97 below the current asking price. The floor for a Bored Ape right now is 76,000. So Bored Ape Alt Club, blah blah blah. Speculations on social media has been rampant. Yeah, of course it's social media. That's how it works. So did you
That's a
see
factual statement, I guess.
Yep.
According to the media.
How did this end up happening? Was it a mistake on his listing, or what's going on here?
I have to no, unfortunately I didn't have time to go look. I was raging through it this morning. Like, I was really into a lot of things. And so I just I'm just still so interested by the concept of this, but I'm more than happy to bring it up and to look real quick.
Okay, so speculation. This is a tweet made by somebody. Who is this that they were saying? Artchic.eth. They're saying, as speculation, feels more like a tax evasion attempt. They sold a mutant ape for 25 to the same wallet. They'll probably claim they were scammed and may even have the audacity to write it off. They bought the ape for 16 ETH. If it was a mistake, I wish them well. It's quite a loss. And yeah, I could absolutely see that happening. The concept of a wash trade is not lost on the NFT community, more so than most. They understand it.
It's just so easy to like buy something at a lower price and then resell it to somebody. I mean, it's just the addresses make it.
Well, and we hold on, let me switch back over to you and let's actually get into that whole concept of buying and selling as a taxable event, and the fact that because of the way these pseudonymous addresses work, it'd be pretty easy for you to trace around and say, okay, this is your original wallet, and that's the one that you're going to be like, oh yeah, I went on OpenSea and bought this thing for this much, and you'll show that. But it's also equally easy to grab a burner phone, install a copy of whatever wallet you need. In this case, it would be MetaMask, and then sell it to yourself for a loss.
And here on the article on the block says, what's strange about this whole situation is the previous owner had to approve it in their wallet, which is obvious, right?
Yeah.
They sold two of them.
Okay.
They sold a Bored Ape and a mutant ape within a minute of each other, suggesting they had decided to accept both offers in one go. It says, while this may suggest this was deliberate, move for some unbeknownst reason, a glance at the buyer's wallet, and then they link to the buyer's wallet.
Oh, is there? Shoot that over to me.
Shows otherwise. Sure. And it says it shows otherwise. The buyer's been continuously placing bids on DAI on multiple Bored Ape NFTs, seemingly looking to trick someone into believing the offer is an ETH and accepting the purchase to suggest the seller fell into the intentional trap.
Gotcha.
Oh, interesting. Okay. It's also possible that the seller had their account compromised when Bored Ape Club member tweeted that he had contacted C-Chan and that he was not aware of the sales, suggested that they had been hacked. Anyway, there's a possible mistake. This could be a lot of different outcomes here. Let me go ahead and post it for you. Okay, there you go.
We can start sleuthing this bad boy here if we Got
This is the fun thing. Like, I love looking for things. Like, I'm a big fan of going and like having to track down things and look for things and see how people use their wallets.
mm-hmm.
And big fan, big fan of creeping on people's wallets. Um, and I think that that's actually a very good methodology towards learning what to do and what to do.
Okay, so we've got our board ape, number 835, which yeah, that is the one that was featured on the article there. Um, and take a look at its properties real quick. I guess we could do a quick NFT lesson real quick. So the properties of an NFT are generally what give it its value, and
Mhm.
it's not necessarily that, yeah, somebody decided these traits are on this individual NFT. It's that they're using randomly generated algorithms to, say, mix up all of the properties and slap them together into the actual art. And so that's what a generative art
Right.
NFT does.
Giving specific features, a
Features and
specific,
traits.
yeah,
Specifically,
features and
what they
traits.
look like. The sunglasses are a trait. The
Right.
cigarette's a trait. The jacket's a
And what
trait. The
rarity of
background.
that
Yeah.
feature.
And
Right.
so they put in these traits and the rarities into their smart contract, and the contract spits them back out and adheres to those rarity percentages. And so, yeah, you end up with, a couple that are really, really uncommon with these traits of 0.058% or something like that. And so those are visible right here on OpenSea under the Properties tab. You can get a little information on Bored Ape Yacht Club, details of the contract address, token ID. Metadata is frozen on this, so it is permanently locked by the IPFS storage system. You can see a bunch of,
That's a whole other story.
yeah.
Did I tell you that? I told you that one time, right? I
What?
went looking in the contract to see where it was locked.
Mm-hmm.
I could not find it. Was not according to the way that it's written, the way that it actually needs to be locked.
Okay.
According to the documentation, it's not actually locked in
Interesting.
BYAC. And so thought I was losing my mind. I
Yeah.
thought I was losing my mind. I was like, this can't be. Because in technical world, if it says this needs to happen, you should be able to go to the contract and see it, right? Like that's so if you don't see it, you're like, how is this possibly frozen? So I went looking and I found a software developer that wrote a couple of tweets about it. It was like, it's not actually frozen. Well, so then we should do that on another show or the next show, because I think we can actually look at the contract and we can
Okay.
show you. I think it'd be super cool to like evaluate a contract and show you kind of what these things are, because really the contract's not that crazy. You just kind of have to know what you're looking for,
Yeah.
more than anything, and know what you should expect to see. And so that might be a little fun to go see, like, how is it frozen and is
Yeah.
it frozen, and we could look at these BYAC ones.
Oh, shoot.
And
I'll grab a clone from GitHub and see what happens. I'll fuck around and find out.
fuck around and find out. Yes, please do, because it's fun. I'm over here like I love sleuthing on this stuff. I really do.
Yeah.
For me, I learn by doing, and so if I'm going to potentially try to write a contract that's frozen, I kind of need to know what I'm doing. So I wanted an example.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I cannot be the only one. So when I went and saw at least one or two other people mentioning it, um, trying to understand why they as well didn't see it, and then the the software developer went through this whole like six, like seven different tweet, you know,
Right.
thread where he was trying to describe how it wasn't locked, and I was so into it. But
Nice.
we're at a crazy point. I think this goes to show we're at a very crazy point here. And
Yeah.
BYAC was just such a big project that
And it's
I don't
it's
know.
it's
It
such a
had to have been
phenomenon the
locked
way it went too.
beforehand, and I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. And
Right.
yeah, it'd be
So
fun. Let's do it on the next episode, maybe.
I'm taking a look at just kind of the original minting transaction. So originally he
Yeah.
minted this I shouldn't assume gender here, for 0.08 ETH, approximately $270, with a transaction fee of
That's really nice.
0.005 ETH, approximately $18. Totally reasonable transaction fee, by the way. Back in those days, I remember, even when I
It
started,
was.
it was cheap to move Ethereum. I used to move Ethereum like I probably did 10 transactions before I realized, it started going up. And that was just in my hodl phase at the very beginning. And yeah, now I don't even try, and ETH stays
Nope.
all the way on Coinbase. All my ETH is always on Coinbase, and I don't even keep very much ETH anymore. I just don't.
When I was early in too, it was crazy. I don't know what happened, but I had ETH. I had ETH, and they allowed you to stake what all the ETH that you had, or some amount of ETH that you had in ETH2. And so I staked everything that I had in ETH into ETH2, and then just started buying into ETH.
Yeah.
And so now I just have a whole pot of ETH2 sitting there. I can't even touch. Like, it's so stupid. Like,
that's okay.
I don't know.
You know what?
I know.
In another year or so, you're gonna be like, yes.
I know I'm gonna be so glad, and I guess
that's a
in some
long
way I'm
walk,
making
though.
a small amount on it right now, but
Yeah.
it's still a long. You're right. It's a long walk too.
Well, okay.
And it better be a really good turnaround when ETH2 starts to bubble.
21 days is a long time as a lock mechanism. If it's above 14 days, I normally won't bother unless it's a portion of an airdrop. I will always put half of my airdrop back in as a stake on any of my airdrops, and then the other half I go and I'll do LPs or something, or maybe I'll just sell it. I always like to try and keep some in whatever project gave me, free money. It's like, all right, fuck it. Let's see what happens with this free money. And you know what? It's turned out pretty well.
I'm down with free money.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
But
yeah.
So I'm just kind of popping over here to look over at these transactions. So he's got himself an unstoppable address. And again, I'm assuming gender, but it's wait, girldad.eth. If I actually read this correctly, their name is girldad.eth, and I'll pull this back over so everyone can see what I'm looking at.
Girldad.eth.
Yep, that's their unstoppable ID. And for those of you that do not know about Unstoppable, I actually just got my domain through Unstoppable the other day. I got
seriously
timecrash.nft is my Unstoppable. If you ever want to send me something.
How much did it cost? I have to know.
$20
for the gas, even.
You know
With
what?
The gas.
So I didn't even pay, like, the way that Unstoppable is batching their transactions. I paid $20, and that was one of the big reasons why I was okay with doing that.
What? I went to Unstoppable, and there was no way.
I'll go over there right now.
Please do.
Okay, give me a random address you want me to try. What the hell? Oh, it's going to my stuff. No. Go to domains. Stop doing that. Let's try droid dot, just do droid as a bulk search. Okay, so no, can't get that one. It's pretty well taken.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do something like, I'm gonna make up something really wild. Fence parameter.
We're just gonna go with fence. Oh man,
fence it is.
What is this? Why is fence such a popular? Okay. So fence.x,
maybe there's
$20,000.
Geofences. Okay,
what is going on? There is a couple down here.
Go try to get the FWBW community. I'm pretty sure that's what I was trying to get, or something similar to that. That's pretty specific.
Okay. Cool. $100, $40 for, so $100 for .x, $40 for .crypto, which would be a good one. FWBW.crypto. Come on. You can get .nft, you can get .dao, .zil, $20.
I have something at crypto. I don't know what I've got. I went and bought a bunch of domains. I don't know what I bought.
Yeah, there's lots of options for you here. And I mean, let's add to cart.
Right. Okay. So when you go through the transaction,
it was like $21.98 or something after tax.
So they charge their transactions so that you can get a lower fee on it.
Yeah,
that's actually quite nice. I didn't realize that. I actually might go back and consider doing that.
On top of that, like, I've gone through and updated my domain probably 15 times, and they aren't charging me transaction fees for doing that, and I'm not sure how. Yeah.
Wait, are you getting subdomains, or are they just?
No. So what I was trying to do was upload my HTML files to my IPFS and link that through the Unstoppable domain, so you could just go and type in, timecrash.nft, and be redirected directly to my actual website. And I was having some issues with the HTML, and so it didn't. I got it to work to the point where it was showing me my menus when all I did was type in timecrashnft.com, and we can try that real quick.
Let me come back to your to the video.
Okay, and let's see what happens. Right now, I don't really have anything linked through, so it's probably pissed off about something. But yeah, it's not working right now. I need to go through and screw with it because I rebuilt my whole website into a different domain, and yeah. Anyway, yeah, I haven't paid for any transaction fees through them. They must be doing something totally different. There's my tweet deck in case anyone's curious how I work on my tweets.
I think we need to get. I don't think Twitch is. I think Twitch is black again. We need to get that figured out.
That's why I've been kind of trying to funnel people towards my YouTube channel, and once we reach a certain number of hours streamed, it'll let me do a specific ID as my what do you call it? Like a YouTube address. So I can be youtube.com/cryptonomad instead of youtube.com/random numbers generated by their algorithm. So that'll happen eventually. And where was I?
I am with you now. I'm here on your YouTube. Wonderful.
Did you want
I muted my face.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, I thought you were screen sharing. You were going to show us.
Oh, I did. You were.
I thought you were still doing that. I'm sorry.
No, I can go back over there.
Fault.
Pew. Make this a little bigger. And so we had FWBW community. They spelled community right? But yeah, give it 30 seconds and you'll be able to see exactly what that is. And
by the way, I'm Lisa from the block, just so you know, just in case they don't.
Did I forget to change your label?
Yeah, so they don't think that I'm Maria.
Oh God!
So I'm not misrepresenting myself.
Not again. Yeah, this is not Maria.
My name is not Maria. My name is Lisa.
I do a lot of copy and pasting for my streams, but can you see what I'm showing now?
Mm-hmm.
What is this? So I actually got a chat, and I don't know how long it's been sitting there, and they're asking, "What do you prefer?" And English phrasing aside, we're going to skip that part. Investing in a farm of legal minors or a farm of legal weed. Well, I live in Washington, so both are totally legal and both can be invested in equally. I don't do traditional finance. If they happen to,
I like that.
To make, I don't do any traditional finance whatsoever. It's a means to an end. I get all of my money out of the U.S. economic system as soon as possible. But I mean, if they created their own token, I might try and go into that. We do have a chain over on Osmosis that does. I think it's Katana is the token, but I don't have any of that. Why would I invest in a miner when I could just buy my own miner? I mean, that's why. So that's a non-answer.
The work.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't really want to mine and you don't want to invest the time or the effort into mining, I mean, you could go to a farm, but then, I mean, you could go to a farm, I suppose, and then, get your mining going on a farm. But still, I just think for some people, it's a load of work. And
yeah, it absolutely
it's an investment
is.
Maybe they don't want to make.
Yeah. At this point, once I have, a stable daily paycheck again and feel like spending some money, I think I'm going to build out a quick server and become a proof.
I would love to do the same thing.
Validator.
I love to do the same thing because you know me, I
like already got your helium
stuff out. I've got my helium miner going. Yeah. I'm really excited about my helium miner, and I know it's a little something, but I think when you start to feel confident and comfortable about your ability to mine or whatever it may be, I think it's just fun.
Yeah. So, yeah, there you go. Hope that's an answer for you. If it wasn't just
I guess the question was all of those domain names, you're paying for them in ETH or are you paying for them in USD?
Um,
Because if it's like dot crypto or dot whatever, am I paying for that
my
in USD?
Right. I believe I paid via my Coinbase card, so technically that would have been just a regular credit card transaction.
Right.
They did have the option to link my MetaMask, which it is linked, so the domain is linked to my MetaMask, and if you use that domain to send a payment, it will go to my MetaMask. Um,
Okay. So,
However, I'm not sure how they're batching this. They must be doing an L2
mhm,
to make it cheap enough to
yeah.
where they're batching 25 to 200 of these transactions together and getting out penny per transaction
Mhm.
per person or something like that, that it's cheap enough. But
And so when you're buying the domain in .eth domains,
yeah,
I'm sure you're paying gas there, right? Are you not?
I haven't bought a
Are they
.eth
still in the
domain.
batch? Okay, maybe that's what I was thinking. Maybe that's what it is. But
Yeah.
I don't want to misinform anybody, so I'm going to go test it because
Okay.
I think I like to test through stuff. But even if I don't buy it, I at least like to understand what that process looks like because
Yeah.
um,
All right.
for fun. I don't know. Why do I do? Why does anybody do anything? Does anybody do anything in
Agreed.
this space?
Oh, geez, I gotta authenticate and everything. I'm logging into my account off the visible screen here. Don't need to dox myself that hard.
Uh, oh, no problem.
um,
Okay. I think, did you have anything that you wanted to share?
um, we can kind of go down and talk about a little bit of Bitsong. Bitsong's kind of a smaller platform that I've been paying attention to for a little while. They do have two, I believe, separate chains operating in the same kind of ecosystem. They have an ETH token, and they have a token on the Cosmos side, which is how I got in because I ended up getting
Mm-hmm.
an airdrop
Sure.
from them as per usual. And they are announcing a brand new fan token platform built for the music industry. And so essentially,
Ooh,
what they're
neat.
trying to do is make it so that you can either as a creator or as a fan yourself, you can go through and kind of invest and pay tribute to your favorite bands, so that those people are actually getting the value that they're presenting to you in the form of music. And should you be the creator, you would be the one getting the value back in the form of this Sinfonia
Mm,
token. Um,
interesting.
yeah.
I'd love to look to see how they have that set up. There's a business model here I haven't seen anybody put out yet, and I don't even know if I want to say it because maybe it's a business model I'll take up.
Mm-hmm.
But I think businesses need freedom to define what their tokens will look like and how they'll be used.
Yeah. Well, I think
Do
that's
you feel like it does a good job of providing that value to even artists who are a business?
I'm not really sure. This token isn't even out yet.
Okay.
There was another platform that had done this recently, where you could, as any kind of creator. I mean, you could be on Twitch, you can be on YouTube, you could be making music, you can be making art, and people could invest in you, and the value of your specific token could vary based on what you as a creator, as an influencer, were worth, and therefore,
Mm,
as it changes in value, it would work just like any other crypto token, where you could basically pull out when it goes up. You could also get a yield back, I
mm.
believe, by locking up tokens. And I think they were
So
rewarding you in a base token for that
I'm
whole
an
thing.
artist. Describe to me why I would want to do this.
You know, that is not necessarily my strong point here. I could more distinctly describe to you why you might want to make yourself, make NFTs out of your pieces or any of your art. But like,
Sure.
as
But tokenomics, like for a token, I mean, unless I'm specifically potentially trying to raise money,
mhm.
which obviously people want money for their goods,
Yeah,
but this is different. This is tokenomics. Like this is where you're getting into like something not having stagnant value, right? Like
right.
I don't know. It depends on if people can buy or sell that token.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the
I mean, sell it. You know
what
what
do
I
you
mean?
call it? Significant pieces of value.
It's not used for utility.
Like one of the utilities in doing that model was that you could take the base token and stake it with your favorite um, creator, and then decide on a
Hmm.
percentage of your yield. So say you put 10 grand in there and you're getting, $50 a day off your percentage yield, then you could say, all right, 20% of that goes to the creator to help support them as a creator, while you're still getting your value from that staking. So, that's still 80% of
Staking requires other people are putting in money to
correct.
continue to
Yeah.
spread
So,
the stake and to fund it. So
right.
so I don't know.
So
I'm just
you're trying to find, rather than it looping back in itself and being self-derivative, you're trying to find where the actual value and building of value is coming from. So it's
that's
not
exactly
just a
right.
Ponzi
Right.
scheme. Yeah, I totally understand
I
it.
don't see that's what I think when we just jump to like, hey, tokens could be used good for that. I mean, I value that, but I want to see, I guess what I'm hoping to see is a company that just like blazes through the door, that gets utility, that stops worrying about giving each person a token and focuses on how they can create tokens to value utility. And then not only that, but how that utility plays out over time and how you can develop relationships with your myself as an artist, potentially how I could develop relationships with people that are supporting me. I don't think all of people are going to want to do investment in tokenomics. Like it's like, I think that maybe is that a normal person thing? I'm not sure. I
Yeah.
can't say that I would want to do it. I mean, I would want to support an artist.
Absolutely.
But I think I would really, and I see that as long as they're getting value out of the token, like I guess you could get back value out of the token, but it still feels like that's the model that still feels pretty scheming. And I don't know if that's the actual model they're doing, but I would say as a buyer, it seems like a very convoluted model to put on something that doesn't add any value to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
What value are you giving me for that convoluted method that I have to go through with a token? And this, are you giving me the ability to like have direct, like really feel like a connection with this person? Like what is the value that the buyers are getting?
Yeah.
And the sellers. So I know some research, obviously, you know me, I don't know enough yet. I'd love to go and look, but these are the thoughts that go through my head when I wonder what this might look like.
I feel like it's going to look a lot like Patreon, but instead of Patreon taking their share of the profit, whatever that platform is called is taking their share. And who knows what they're building out behind the scenes using the available liquidity. And that's something you really
probably
look
nothing.
At.
Yeah, exactly. And no offense to Audius, but Audius is a really good example of a company that really does not.
Wondering when they're going to do something.
They basically are kind of like what you're talking about. They basically tokenize, but then they tokenized under their single token. And to me, it's just re-centralization of the effort of artists back to some other centralized method, and that's Audius. Yeah. And what's crazy is I read through their white paper and I was like, this is not a white paper. Like, who wrote this? This is a sales document. It had, in fact, the technological discussions, they were very light on the technical.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm very, you know me, I have a very discerning eye, but I always worry about those types of things, even though it sounds like so great. Like, at the end of the day, I need somebody to prove to me that their value is truly getting to the artist. If not,
right. It's
tough.
just, it's a whole thing.
It's tough. But hey, listen, there's a world out there for everybody, and somebody may really like that.
Yeah.
That methodology and may thrive in that methodology. And here I am, Mm-hmm. But I think it's good to, just look at all perspectives, as you know.
As we go off into the corner muttering to ourselves about value and technology.
I feel like there's always value, technology, security.
Oh my gosh.
The cornerstones.
Right. All right. Well, I think outside of a couple of smaller, there just wasn't that much big news today to really get into. Nothing earth-shattering.
I thought we did good.
But yeah, I thought there was a lot on discussion going on here.
The amount of stuff that we covered.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But
excuse me real quick. I just gotta pat myself on the back.
Right. Just don't hurt your arm doing that, as they say.
Don't break figure I'm doing that.
Yeah.
It's a good one. We went a full hour today, so
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Only thing that I have for news is at least as far as my project goes, I wrote a full ass Medium article yesterday instead of working for somebody else for unpaid
cool.
work. I
That's right.
took a couple hours and wrote out my own Medium article, just kind of describing some of the basics of the project, kind of where it came from. Website's been updated a whole lot over the last several days. I have been working directly with Stargaze's code on testnet,
Cool.
in the hopes that I can kind of push out the first small mint, so I can continue working on all of that. And then there was something else. Oh gosh, I spent all night last night working on tokenomics and making actual math.
Actual math.
actual math. There
The
there's
math.
there's going to be actual math involved in this project, and one of the big things that I really want to kind of bring forth into the gamified token market is entry, making entry feasible for everyone. And this doesn't have to be through just my project. If I can convince other projects to employ a model like my own, that would be amazing. I really, really would love that, because like I'm looking at projects that are weeks old and I'm saying to myself, no, I don't want to spend $600 on an NFT for a game that I've never tried or seen, or what's it going to be like?
That's exactly right.
And like,
it's a lot of promise.
I
No
go
follow
out and
through.
you buy a copy of Elden Ring, a full ass game that these developers already have all the DLC implemented into. They're just like waiting to turn on the Switch and it's free. They just did an update the other day and you got DLC for free. It's like, oh right, this is how video games are supposed to be.
Used to be. Yep.
I remember this. You
Be.
pay for a game and you get a whole game. Weird. And so,
Yep.
it brings me back to the early days of playing Magic cards when, you don't go out and go to the local game store and all of a sudden you're trying to buy your pack of Magic cards and it's $400 for a 12 pack of NFT Magic cards. Like, no, you spend $30.
They realized there was a limit to that money.
Yeah. I mean, like,
and then they were like, how do we tap into unlimited money? And then they were like, oh, I know. Microtransactions,
yeah,
and subscription models, and they were like,
so,
and that's there it was. That just so you know, that was an actual video of the event of how it happened.
The whole video
across every company.
You're killing me today, Lisa.
Microtransactions.
Yeah. So the big deal here is that I'll be implementing hard cap limits at both the floor and the ceiling. So maximum of $100 for a pack and minimum of $10, which will be variable on the token price throughout that range. But you will always be able to buy into this game. I mean, I haven't decided on a price for the starter decks, but it's going to be actually reasonable. I want to...
Yeah. In a model like this, you have to give the value has to be to the users in another form necessarily. If it's not going to be the value that they're going to like, oh dude, I want to pump it for like 7 million, like,
I mean, sure, the token,
if they're not going to pump it, then they're true, the token get pumped, but I see what you're saying. The value of the cards themselves,
the US dollar to value to mint will always be within that US dollar value of like 10 to 100, so that even if it reaches that 100, the token price will go down and down and down as long as it stays at that ceiling price of USD value. And so that's going to be a really big part of it. And, there's going to be secondary markets and all that, and that's whatever. That's out of my control. People can buy and sell however they feel, whatever prices they want, but you can
you're not gonna reap the rewards of the secondary sales market. This is like the first time in history that people could actually reap rewards of secondary sales markets, and you're not gonna.
I mean, that's for them. Sure. I'm not saying there isn't gonna be a commission in there, but like,
okay,
I'm trying to make a financial incentive.
You're trying to figure it out
to prevent people from, sure, they can go out and find this one card they need on the secondary market and take that into their deck, but like to start out the game, no, you don't need to spend $500 on 3 axes. You just buy your starter deck and maybe a booster pack, and you start from there, and you can start playing immediately with that entry price. And like that's kind of the big deal is entry. Sure, over time you may build up value and buy more things at higher prices, but you'll never ever have to start at $500 just to get a deck, just to play. Like screw that. No, I want people to be able to play immediately.
That's I like that idea, because I think there's got to be, we're early still in these in these marketing conditions, and trying to figure out what it looks like and how it plays out to the audience and how it feels as an audience, as in the audience as a buyer, and what that means to me and how long. And mind you, I think that one of the biggest complexities is how long that relationship's going to last. And I think a lot of people think that a lot of their NFTs are going to develop relationships that are going to last, and they're not. They're just going to be like, if you're just hyping, if you just have a hype-based visual NFT and that's all you got, like, you need to hype that for the rest of your life. That's it. That's all you do.
That's a full-time job.
That's exactly right. I mean, if you don't plan on, providing them value, then you're not hyping it. Then what are you doing?
Yeah.
So there's time is a complexity to that one too, because I think
absolutely. So here's a question for you, a tokenomics question, and this is from your perspective as an investor. Which would you rather see in a gamified system? A inflationary token, so that over the years, and it would be using a halvening or thirdening system of inflation. So each time over a certain amount of blocks, it would decrease the percentage of inflation, or a hard cap with I really haven't come up with a good term to describe this. So right now I've got it set as a hard cap. However, there's a back and forth burning between the VPs, the victory points, and the base token, so that those assets are going into a non-usable like community fund. So that fund would be supplying per game turn out the same token will come out per game turn and then be cycled into victory points, and victory points can then be transferred back over. But so
essentially
or inflation.
You're trying to get these two. Okay, so do you want those points to be? You want them to retain the same value as your coin, right? Is that what you're trying to say? Okay. Gosh.
That was kind of one of the things I was running into. Is like
I think that if you do inflationary, you might run into issues.
Yeah.
From what that sounds like. But I get the fact that inflationary may have to exist because the amount of players may have to increase, obviously, unless you want to.
Well, what happens if there aren't enough tokens circulating fast enough to fill the need given by it providing them per game?
Yeah.
And so that's why I kind of built in another mechanism at.
What is Axie doing on that? I would be so curious. I would go look at the models that are potentially working right now and just see kind of how they plan out their tokenomics in regards to player input versus player use and output. Because that is a very you're right. There's some maths going on there.
Well, and that was one of the big things too. Is like, how am I supposed to make a predictive model of how many coins are going to be operating per day based on number of turns, based on it's this whole thing. And that whole
I don't know. I mean, are you sure you want to have your burn? You sure you want those two burn rates to be equal?
No. So they're never going to be burning per se, as much as exchanging. So
that's kind of what I mean. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's was a bad way for me to say it, but yeah, that's what I mean. Is that the value of each should be the same regardless of which one, and the transfers between the two should be equal.
And that was one equals the other, so, one coin equals the other coin, but
But I think that adds a whole other layer of complexity on top of whatever you're doing here, especially if you want. Especially if you want the coin itself, the token itself, to transcend and to create value, I think that you might actually, I don't know. I'm not really like the best model and brain here, but it seems to me like that might actually devalue something here if you're trying to keep those two values equal.
Yeah.
In some way, right? I think you might need to separate the value of the token away from
Okay.
away from the action points. And here's what I mean by that.
Go ahead.
And so them being equal, action points can purchase tokens.
Okay.
Therefore, action points. I'm sorry, I know I keep calling them action points, but
that's the general idea.
Okay. Action points are translatable to the monetary value potentially after being earned. That's kind of what they're doing in Axie, I think, right? Like, so you're earning them over here and then you're translating them over there. But I see what you mean. There has to be a translatable value between the two of them.
So it's a one-way door too.
It has to be a one-way door too. Right,
yeah,
exactly.
It is 100%. You can always
that's right.
sell
only
your victory points over to buy the native token,
right?
Which is then used to make to play in-game turns or to spend whatever points you need to spend as far as economy goes. But you can't buy victory points ever. You have to play games to generate those, and that's
what I think is good because so long as you have generation happening, you have engagement.
Yeah,
and I think that will continue to create longer lasting engagement. And I think that's too is how can I get maximum amount of engagement for my users so that they really are enjoying it. Because again, the web 2 version of only play my game for an hour and then you have to stop because everything needs time to grow, and I understand those mechanics need to happen in specific games. Like I get that.
Yeah.
You want people just want it too fast, or then it's too slow, and then it's too fast how much they're getting, and then it's too. So I get there's a lot of different levels of mechanics there, but yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I love the concept of these types of things. Just
right.
So I don't know if that helped at all, but
yeah, it was worth talking about. At the very least, we worked through some of the issues and general concepts, and I think that's
out loud, which is nice to hear.
Yeah. Well, and now we have something that people can come in and be like, oh, so this is kind of where you guys worked through how you built this whole model out, and it's not just me sitting over here with my whiteboard scribbling down things. Swiveling back over and rapidly typing into my white paper and my my what do you call it? Charts.
At every stage, ask.
Yeah.
At every stage, ask. At every stage, ask. I think that says ASA. At every
ASA. ASA.
I made that up. By the way.
That's almost as bad as Ave.
At every stage, ask. But what I mean by that is just like check in with anybody, with somebody that knows, like not just me, but like other people too, because I think testing in the real world, sometimes we envision something and then it just doesn't work in the real world. And
this
I think
could all just collapse, like
Well, no, but I think it just what I used to do in my business world would use is run test pilots, and I don't know if you can actually do that here, but we would test through theories of what we thought people might like, and then what they actually liked was a little bit different than what we thought they might like. So it's just always so interesting to kind of just plug in the ideals of others throughout it, and I'm not saying that you have to change your project, but just hear what they have to say and see if maybe that transition might be logical for your game.
Everything can change so long as it improves things.
I think and people are your buyers at the end of the day. So
we'll see. It's all up in the air. I honestly that whole side of things is still a year or more out.
Sure,
we'll see. That.
It takes time.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can see here just the thought process behind everything you've got going on is a lot.
It's so much. So
making sure that people are having a good experience, I think, is definitely going to be one of the hardest ones, but the most fun one.
No, and then that's definitely like honestly, priority number one is people enjoying themselves in the game. And if the tokenomics aren't great, we can adjust them, to meet people's needs, so that they are again having a good time.
Meaningful.
And making a meaningful, progress in whatever they're trying to do. So, all right. Cool. Well, we've been on for a hot minute. It is 12:10, and why don't we call it for the day?
Let's call it.
So, as usual, thank you very much, Lisa. I'll drop her links down in the description, and you can give us your little 2 cents, your outtake real quick.
That's it. That's
That's
all I
it.
got.
Check out the
I
For
think I
Women by Women
talked people
community.
here. So, oh yeah, check out the community. Obviously, shout out to the community,
Yeah.
and
And
hope
tomorrow,
everybody's
are we doing a
doing
thing
one.
tomorrow?
I do not think we're doing a thing tomorrow. I'm going to plan the thing for the next week
Okay.
tomorrow, and then kind of give people an idea. So it'll be in a
Yeah.
night off.
Perfect. I will be out of town having a birthday.
Yay!
And
Happy
I will be back on
birthday!
Friday. Thank you. So that is it,
Okay, we'll see you
everyone.
then.
Thank you very much for tuning in, and look for us on Friday at 11 a.m. PST. And that is it. Have a good day.
Good day.
Woo! And boop.